Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good morning, good afternoon, and a good evening to wherever you are watching in the world. We arrive back in the US of A for another round of the ARL GT3 Trophy. It is season number 10. And I'm very much looking forward to getting round 6 of this championship underway. We're in the beautiful situated circuit of Virginia, the International Raceway, the long circuit. The full course is going to host a massive race here. Round 6 of the championship. Pretty clear skies around the circuit as well. 28 degrees it currently sits at. Myself, Adam Reed, will be alongside Sam Fitzpatrick for the ride, and we'll have Jim Cunningham in the production gallery. Damn, it's an absolutely stupendous day or night, I should say, to go racing. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this goes out.
Absolutely, yeah, it should be a really good race. I think VIR, especially since the rescan a couple of years ago, has really gone up in a lot of people's estimations. It's sort of nicknamed the Nürburgring of the US often, with the amount of grass which is around here, the very rural landscape around this circuit, and the undulation as well. It's a pretty long circuit, as you identified before. And yeah, I think the drivers really enjoy driving around this place. Is it the best race circuit? We'll wait to see. There's a couple of long straights, but it's not easy to overtake. And so, yeah, it's going to be an important qualifying before the 60-minute race that we have in store tonight.
Indeed, you speak about that qualifying session being so important. I think you've really hit the nail on the head with that one, because it's such a narrow circuit, such a long circuit as well. So we're looking at the full course, that being over 5 kilometers. Looking at if any Formula One fans are in the chat, you're looking at kind of Baku length. It's very similar in terms of the long straight, the narrow circuit, but the difference is this one is quite widespread in terms of runoff. Meanwhile, the Azerbaijan circuit does not. Currently into the midsection of qualifying. Well, we're kind of going in toward the midsection for our pro category cars as they head out onto the circuit. It is Malik Aluch who is currently running in pole position there with 143.683. Eden Young puts himself up to second. Damn, it's, as you say, it's going to be such an important qualifying session. How would you kind of approach this if you were sitting in the cockpit of one of these G3s?
Well, of course, we know that it's much more demanding now when it comes to the tyres, and the drivers have to maybe spend a lap or two just to get the tyres up to temperature. And so that is going to be something that they're going to really have to consider when it comes to this qualifying session. Now we've got the pro drivers out on track, and you can see there Aiden Young, who actually changed to the Mustang for this round, already going second fast, and that's very impressive considering that was his first timed lap. I think this second lap, now that the tyres are more up to temperature, will be even better. And you can see his first 3 sectors, 3 personal bests, and 2 of them were the fastest of anyone. Aiden wasn't in great form last time at Mosport. He pulled off a couple of good moves at T3, scored a hat-trick of moves around that part of the circuit, but generally spent the entire race outside the top 10. But today he looks absolutely on form, albeit there's plenty of other drivers who are, I'm sure, going to take the challenge to him in the race and in this qualifying session. But at the moment, he looks like the man to beat.
Indeed. Of course, unfortunately for Aiden, I think we have to speak about this very, very early on. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, he will get a penalty for changing his car. Yeah, because we had that with, I believe it was Anders Meyer back at Sonoma, where he used the Ferrari instead of his usual BMW. So negative points there, unfortunately for Aiden. Would be a massive hit to the system. Oh, but Leitner, the Hungarian, goes to the top briefly as Aiden Young there goes and topples him. Then we find Igor Wazowski then going into second, and that will be a big result for Igor, because of course that will equal his best qualifying position of the season. Superb momentum there from the Polish driver, but can he continue it?
Yeah, that's a very good time for him so far. Shall we have a quick look at what the championship points are going into this round in the various different championships, just while the drivers embark on another lap of this circuit, trying to get a few more tenths of a second out of it. It is currently Norbert Leitner who is at the top of the championship, so of course 3rd place in this qualifying session as it stands. But yeah, Leitner so far the man to beat. That is with a 1 drop score applied to the points as it stands. In the Pro-Am Championship, meanwhile, we have Make Paluch, who is currently the leader of that one. Then we've got Nurmi and Winkler just behind the course sim racing drivers, absolutely dominating. In the Amateur Championship, we have Japako Rampazzo, who is currently at the top, and he's quite far clear of the rest of the order. And then in the Teams Championship, talking about having a clear of the rest of the order, Impulse Racing by Tam Livery, 300 points clear as we enter the second half of the season.
We have, and that's going to be so impressive, as you're speaking about the Jacopo Rampazzo. He's not our pole sitter in the AM category. I'll let you know on that one, because it goes to Alex Rogers. He's qualified currently 13th overall, but prepare that to be shuffled around. Tommy Beadle then going 15th overall. Jacopo Rampazzo is going to be 18th overall at this moment in time. So that's not going to change anytime soon. That's all stuck with there. For him, Rampazzo, every time he's entered a race, he's always got a podium. So that's something he's going to be riding high with for the majority for the whole entire of this race. He's going to really be pushing for those top 3 spots, but he's going to go for a win, because as far as my stat page is saying, that he had 3 wins in a row, which were both races at Sonoma and then Spa, and then he took that 3rd place in Mosport to end his run of wins. But so far so good for a lot of our drivers, and it's still Young at the top of the standings from Andreas Meyer. Igor Wazowski drops to 4th there, but so far we're still seeing some pretty good times being inputted in with 4 minutes remaining.
Yes, yeah, just a couple more laps for the drivers. They have to complete their laps before the session is complete. So they've got 32 minutes or 12 minutes for the pro drivers for them to complete these lap times. Aiden Young continuing to go very fast at the moment out on circuit. Here he is, in fact, heading down the back straight here. And then this very awkward left-right, where it's going to be so tricky to make an overtake. When someone does pull off an overtake around there, though, it is spectacular to watch, because they have to go usually around the outside of the left and then to get the inside for the right. It's so easy to lock a brake or run a bit wide, not a wide part of the circuit whatsoever, But at least in qualifying, these guys absolutely nail it. Meyer up into second place. Young will maybe improve. He does by 6,000, so it's not much improved. Steinhoff improved, and Wazowski moves back onto the front row.
Indeed. I actually covered a race, in fact, on Apex Racing TV, which is the Annie Lee Porsche Super Cup. So I already kind of know what this circuit has to host when it comes to kind of Carrera Cup. But GT3 can be such a different kettle of fish, as I like to describe it, because of course they're a lot more powerful. There's not as spec series as Carrera Cup. It's still very, very powerful, high speed. Although I just the roof cup, we call them tin tops. They have a roof over their head. In the UK, we usually call them tin tops. But yeah, overall, it's gonna be really, really impressive. And also a personal, that's an overall best there from Aiden Young. In kind of the middle sector, Yannick Steinhoff is going even faster. He's a very strong contender, I believe, sitting third in the Pro Standings Championship, going really well for him. A new driver as well, you see at the bottom of the screen, Jeremy Ostring, the Finnish driver who will enter in this round. And we got a McLaren going wide, but yeah, back to Ostring, the Finnish driver. He will be in that Ford Mustang as he continues to circulate the circuit. Was making his debut in the ARL GT3 Trophy. How do you think a lot of these drivers are going to go here, Sam?
Yeah, I think he will definitely hold his own. Ostring, he is teammates, of course, to Kirkapa in that Valkyrie Excite or Valkyrie competition. I think it's Valkyrie competition. They are representing in this series. So yeah, he will be strong, and there he goes up into P8. So strong time for him, and ahead of his teammate, despite being a fair bit lower I-rated than his teammate. He is right there. So that will be it for him. He's got less than a minute to go, so there's no way he's going to be able to complete this last lap. So we are running out of drivers who can complete their lap time. So all these guys crossing the line now, that is their qualifying done. And actually, I'm looking down the order. There is no one else who is going to reach the line. So that looks like it's going to be our order. And yeah, Aiden Young, what a performance from him. I mean, changes to the Mustang, and it immediately delivers for him. Nearly a 10th clear of Igor Wazowski.
Indeed, that's going to be so important for Aiden Young, because of course we know he's got that kind of penalty moving from the BMW to the Mustang. So he's really going to hope for a win here. He's taken the second place at Watkins Glen behind his teammate Eric Rosef. He's really hoping to potentially put on the pressure, but then he did go and win the second race at Sonoma, which I remember quite clearly. He was very, very happy with that. But the checker flag now flies. It will be Aiden Young on a pole position ahead of Wazowski. How interesting is that going to be? We're seeing the warm-up now happening, so they'll probably be getting a lap and a half, which is still really important. They need to be able to get that a little bit of information in preparation for the race.
Yeah, just get that little bit more information. I mean, good information from Alex Rogers letting us know in the YouTube chat that the track is lava. It is very, very warm. I think it's over 80 degrees Fahrenheit, I think, track temperature, which is, I mean, look at that, 53 degrees Celsius. That is pretty much as high as it gets in iRacing. I mean, I don't think I've seen that high besides Interlagos, which tends to be the warmest circuit when it comes to track temperature. I mean, the air temperature is high, 28, but yeah, 53. So this is as little grip as you're ever going to get. And the weather for this series, it's randomly generated. The series admins just click the generate button for the weather, and that is what it is. And then the drivers get that forecast about a week before the race. And yeah, very much on the warm side. This is, yeah, I didn't realize it was quite that bad. I knew it was warm, but I didn't realize it was that warm.
Yeah, that's going to be a real tire eater. So you have to really be quite careful, especially going on the throttle, just trying to envision a lap around here. You know, you're really going to have to be careful about how you're pointing the car as well. I think also in the braking zones, you're going to have to be quite careful, maybe allow a little pull more extra meters in terms of the braking, just so you're not sliding off the track. But I think tire nursing is going to be so important. You know, the minute you start pushing, you know, those temperatures are going to absolutely or sky high, and then you're going to find yourself with little grip after a lap or two. But we'll have to see how these kind of tyres, and I think that will be the hot topic when it comes to the interview questions at the end of the hour-long race. Onto the race, as I say, going on to kind of the race degradation at this moment in time. So really working out what is the track going to feel like when it comes to the hour-long race. You're going to try and get all that information within 3 minutes.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see what the drivers do in terms of tyre changes. I mean, last time out we saw at Rennsport the drivers were taking left side tyres because that's it's very much a clockwise circuit. Here, this is another clockwise circuit, but I feel like it's not quite as demanding maybe on the left side tyres. It might be a little bit more balanced compared to Rennsport, which is almost an oval in some regards. So will they just take left side tyres, or will the right side tyres be straining enough? If they take all 4 tyres, then they're going to have to stay in the pit lane for an extra 8 seconds or so. And of course, if you take tyres, then you're going to lose about 4 seconds getting them warmed up when you come out of the pits. So is it worth taking that, 10 seconds or so of penalty to take 4 tyres? Do you want to take 2 tyres? I think 2 tyres will probably be the way to go. Or do you take no tyres? Maybe not in these high track temperature conditions, but we'll see. It's all in store for us today. As we've got the grid, it's Aidan Young on pole position, ahead of Igor Wazowski, Yannick Steinhoff, Anders Meyer, Norbert Leitner, Roop Kirkeper, Kellyan May. Make Paluch is top of the Pro-Ams in 8th place overall. Then it's Jeremy Ostring on his debut, Roman Bokler, Pierre Ubithu, and Haldus Yutortsus in 12th place. Then it's another one of the Pro-Ams, Carl Winkler and Miko Nurmi. Stephen David doing very well up there in P15. Alex Rogers is on pole for the AMS. Alongside him is Tommy Veda in that category. There's Igor Kos, Jacopo Van Pazzo, who is championship leader, remember, in the amateurs. Pavlo Denisenko, Dominic Engel, Manuel Pindel, Marcus Fox, Ronald Grossman, Alexei Bari, Jan Nova, Matt Loveridge, Michael Urberstein, Sven Lotman, Artem Udod, and then a few more of the AMs. Jamie Edwards, Jan Schuttler, Daniele Cialfi, Jason Hodgson, Tommaso Besegio, and Marcello Caserta, the pro driver. I don't think he set a qualifying time. He starts all the way back in 36th place, as we have this weird formation lap where we start in the pits. I don't know any other circuit where we do that. I guess it's something that they do in real life, and that's what the logic is.
I'm not too sure. I've not seen too many races around Virginia, to be honest, but I think that this is going to be so important, especially the race start. Let's have a little bit of a conversation here about the race start, because it's going to be such a difficult turn through turn number 1. You're going to be so congested with 3 different classes. As you're seeing, the grid is about 36 drivers, so you've got plenty to kind of negotiate on this one as well. You can see the 120 there of Anders Meyer and his BMW. How will he get along? Jeremy Ostring, we're just spotting there, the debutant in the Ford Mustang. We've got I believe that's 6 Ford Mustangs in the top 14. Well, that's all the way down to Miko Nurmi, who's 3rd in the Pro-Am class. As I say, the is going to be so crucial. You're going through these tight sections, and just really going to have to try and fan out. And whilst everyone is trying to make a place up, you've just got to try and really control yourself and put yourself in the right position where you're not going to fumble over everybody and trip over each other's tires and feet and or whatever you kind of want to class it in. Case, but yeah, we've got this whole lap to go through in order to warm up the tires, and I just kind of wonder if there's really any point in kind of the weaving, because you're going to get going, and into turn 1 your tires are going to start to get a little bit toasty through that long right hander.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? That the track temperature is so warm, and yet the drivers are still swerving, even getting into single file. And and it is going to be really stressful for them to get those tires in the absolute perfect condition when it comes to that race start. But yeah, it's still worth doing, and trying to clean the tires a little bit as well. But we see a little bit of grass dipping there. I'm not sure if that's totally, maybe that's just on our end perhaps, but yeah, Aiden Young just dipping a little bit into the grass there, which maybe is deliberate, but that's usually to cool down the tyres. So I'm not exactly sure on that one. Albeit now the grass is quite warm, so maybe it's the other way around after they sort of fix that. You can see he's absolutely taking all that he possibly can. So yeah, despite how warm it is, they still want to get some temperature in, but once the race starts, once we get onto lap 3 or 4, then it's going to be a case of how smooth you can be, how cool can you keep those tires. Because if you spike those temperatures, it can be very, very tricky to cool them back down. And also, the drivers are going to have to choreograph this to get back into double file for the race start around this next part of the circuit. So yeah, let's see how they do on that.
Indeed, it's going to be a very, very tricky section. You already see that that tight right-hander into the downhill section. We actually, going back to the Porsche Super Cup that I covered, we actually had a little bit of an incident between two, I wouldn't say lead, but the podium contenders in that case around that corner. Now they're starting to go into two abreast here, and the pace car will now pull into the pit lane. And we're about to get round 6 here of the ARL GT3 Trophy season underway for round number 6. They'll crawl their way over to the line. Everyone packed up, ready for this race. We go green, we go racing here at VIR, and it's a decent start there from Aiden Young as he leads the way at the 2 Mercedes of Wazowski and Steinhoff. Steinhoff's going to have a look up the inside, see if we can pick up a position for championship purposes, and he's going to now try and push away here in towards these next sequence of corners. It's all about trying to keep your composure. The 3 Impulse Racing team cars in the Mercedes really trying to work their way through. It seems to be a pretty clean start for the moment. Nothing too major happening near the front, nothing too major happening toward the back, but you're still seeing those side-by-side moments there with Jeremy Ostring, the debutant, who's really getting himself involved in everything. And you're just seeing there that gap that Aiden Young is already pulling out 9/10 of a second, and then you're seeing this whole kerfuffle there of 6 different cars, all the way down to Kalen May, and then Roman Bokler 1.3 seconds behind, heading in toward the double apex. They'll head here. The elevation really starts to come into contention.
Yeah, it's a bit of a swap there. So yeah, Steinhoff getting past Wazowski, and then Leitner got past Meyer. Meyer didn't actually have a bad launch, but was just caught on the outside at T1, and the Impulse cars managing to get ahead. So now Impulse 2, 3, 4. There was a bad issue for Alex Rogers, pole sitter in the amateurs, and he spun off. But fortunately, he didn't collect anyone else, it seems. Maybe a couple of other drivers, maybe with light contact. But it doesn't seem to affect them too much. We're riding with Haraldus Utortus. He's trying to get ahead of Carl Winkler, and to go the long way round. Winkler a little bit compromised from the car ahead, had to get a bit earlier on the bricks there, rubbing mirrors at the moment, and through goes Utortus. That was a very nice effort, albeit it was all just to get into his same position that he started. Talking of getting back into the position that you started, that is what Igor Wazowski is doing. He gets back past Yank Steinhoff, and that seemed quite choreographed. So maybe the Impulse drivers thinking, you know what, Igor's the fastest one out of us. Let's let him chase after the race leader, Aiden Young.
It's like another penalty for changing car to Haraldus Utortus, because he started off with the Corvette back at all the previous rounds, but now switching to a Ford for this race. So unfortunately getting the same as Aiden Young on this one, and we now keep on tabs here with Igor Wazowski. Unfortunately there for Yannick Steinhoff for his championship contention. He's going to try and get past his teammate. Look, we do have a moment there for Pavlo Denisenko. I think something's happened there in the background, but he seems to have gotten away with it for the most of it. Yeah, we'll have to get a replay on this one. This was, unfortunately, a slow-mo replay on this one, but we'll start to get it speeding up here. And you're just spotting there the yellow and black car that went down the inside. Oh, a bit of a touch there. And I wonder if that would maybe... maybe
Jan Nova? Maybe?
Might be Jan Nova. It might have.
It was one of the cold ice cars, wasn't it? And I think Nova was in that region. So yeah, that would make sense. So I don't know. That could be a penalty. I think. Let's have another replay of it. I think it's the 112, isn't it?
11.
So yeah, on
211.
211. So yeah, I'm not sure whose fault that was. But yeah, bad news for him. It was Manuel Pindal, sorry. That was the driver.
Yes. That was it. I was just having a look at that as well. Anyway, back with the leading battle here, and Aiden Young has got himself up to a 9/10 advantage, just been holding that out in front. That seems to be Norbert Lietner just hanging himself, just holding on to his position there, just trying to have a look on the inside, get into the mirrors. Nick Steinhoff. Of course, you may think, why are those two battling kind of hard here? Well, they're the top two in the championship. They're currently first and second with the Hungarian ahead of the German driver. They're really pushing each other here to the limits because they have to get every single point available to them. We're now having a look at the Norwegian just sitting in the background in his BMW, and if he can get past the Hungarian here, that would be a good amount of points for him. Maya sitting a bit further down in the championship compared to the leading two. This is going to be a top battle, and see if the BMW can indeed get onto this fight. We're having a look at the cockpit cam of the BMW as you go down the hill and then try and hit the double right hander, and then back onto that on that back straight here, getting into the draft here of the Mercedes. This is going to be a crucial battle here, Sam.
Yeah, very important one, and Anders is more than willing to go for a move. He's not a driver who holds back most of the time, so if there's an opportunity, he's going to try to take it, but he's not making much of an impression on the straight, and by the time you get to the end of the straight, it's not a big braking zone for him to go for a lunge. Instead, it's a single file corner. You can be saving a decent amount of fuel, and of course I think tyres are going to be a big thing today with the very warm temperatures, so yeah, he doesn't necessarily need track position as long as all these cars stay fairly close to the leader. He doesn't want to start dropping too much toe. As Rampazzo is our amateur leader at the moment, so he started third, I think, out of our amateurs, but as it's been the case a few times this season, the championship leader gets his way to the front. He's up 3 places overall, and yeah, of course, Vidal had his, has dropped a couple of places, and then we also had the issue for Alex Rogers at the start. I wonder if we could get a replay actually of what happened to Alex Rogers at T1, because that spin dropped him all the way to the back of the field.
Yeah, it looks like we're going about to potentially get that. This is the race start here. You're seeing it get fairly clean. There's Ferrari that's kind of on the move, and so just heading down the inside. Oh, and then a bit of a door-to-door contact there for Alex Rogers. Unfortunately, sent him off onto the grass, and that was kind of the deal done for him. I have to see how it is looking in time. We'll go back to that in just a moment, because this was a better view here. I think, that was all started by Rampazzo. That was all started by the Italian, just going down the inside there. I think also getting caught out by the braking of some drivers, then going into one car, that car going into the McLaren of, the BMW there of Rogers. So that's all she wrote on that one. Rampazzo now looking for another victory in the AM category, but of course that could be a penalisation potentially coming his way if the stewards do decide to do so. Now having a look at 14th place Mikko Nurmi in this one. This will give him 2 extra points in the overall championship. They get given points in overall, so not by class, but this is a place that Rampazzo to go for, and of course he does even have 2 cars in him and Vidal. We're having a look at a replay here of Eberstein, who's been dumped onto the grass, into the tyre barrier. We don't get to see the initial contact here, but he has managed to get away with it relatively. We'll now get to see it on this part here. So down towards the quite twisty section, there's I believe, and just use it on its own, really, just on the curbing. Damn.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was just over the curb on that one, of course, alongside another car, and obviously there could always be some netcode involved in that one, but yeah, I think it was just by himself. I'm really curious as to what the stewards will decide on that Rampazzo one, because there was a car who moved in the braking zone just in front of him, and he might argue, well, I had a space in front of me, I broke into that space, and then this car, moves into the braking zone. What am I meant to do? So it's not necessarily a slam dunk for Rampazzo, even though it looks really bad because he drove onto the grass before the corner and hit a couple of cars. He might get away without a penalty for that, but yeah, we will see. I'm very curious as to what the stewards decide on that, as Kelly and May is under a lot of pressure, And it looks like Roman Bokler is going to get past. So to be fair, that is the Delatras cars just in front of Make Palach. So Bokler getting ahead of May. Perhaps May feeling like he's a little bit slower, so won't fight that one too much. But Make Palach, as we've seen a few times this season, well, I feel like every part of this season, course sim racing, leading the Pro-Ams. They're currently 1, 2, 3 in the Pro-Ams. And yeah, Palach, who wasn't far away from winning back at Spa, performing the top of them as it stands, P9 overall.
Yeah, really good stuff there. The Bokler May battle in the Mercedes, that is Frenchman on Frenchman. So really see how that all kind of pans out as well with Malik Palach, who's got a big lead over Carl Winkler and Miko Nurmi. Nurmi's been on a massive amount of form here in the last couple of races, because he's scored 2 wins, 204 points in the last 2 races. That's massive, and he's closed up the Pro-Am championship lead to just 1 point to Malik Palach, and you have the opportunity to go and take that championship lead in that class away, but obviously has not done the not quite got past him in this one. And there are plenty of places as well to the back of that to the back of that 9th placed Ford Mustang. Meanwhile, Alex Rogers is taking down Matt Loveridge in the McLaren. That has no rear bumper, so there's obviously been some contact taken to the rear of Matt Loveridge in that one. So this is going to be Brit on Brit action here, with Rogers in the amateur category looking to try and get past the pro car, but you know, it's not an easy feat to try and get past a driver that is 2 classes above you. But they will, if he does manage to hold on to get that position, Alex Rogers, he'll absolutely hold that with pride until his sim racing career ends. I'm sure that will go above and beyond on that one as well, as he has a look now in towards the next corner. You'll go over the rise and in towards this next sequence here. He's going to have a look at that outside line for turn 13, in towards turn 14 here at the roller coaster, but that's not quite going to go through. But pretty good stuff here from Alex Rogers. He's really bringing the never give up mentality here. 3rd place in his category as well. As I say, after a spin as well. Thank you, Jim, for reminding me on that one. But yeah, fighting from the back, it's been an absolutely heroic effort, especially if you can get past that pro car. But not quite once again.
Yeah, I imagine Loveridge is in a Discord chat maybe with his Walk Racing teammates. Well, there's a couple of them. Jamie Edwards is out there, Artem Udod as well as out there, and he'll be saying, I've got damage, guys, I've got no rear end grip. They'll be saying, none of us have got any rear end grip because the track temperature is very, very high, but he genuinely does have damage, and I'm not sure if that will be affecting through the corners or whether that'll be affecting down the straights. But yeah, losing the rear bumper like he has will be making him suffer a bit, and I'm not even sure if he will know 100% if he does have damage. So we'll see if he takes an early pit stop. The earliest you can pit generally in these races is about the 20-minute mark. I imagine this is a pretty low fuel consumption circuit. The tank can usually go about 35 minutes, so yeah, maybe 20 to 25 minutes is the earliest you can pit. We'll see if he is one of the first to take that up. Marcus Fox, by the way, has just got up into P20s, overtaken Manuel Pindel for that position. So the Course Sim Racing 2 driver making good progress, and there is Marcus, and yeah, he's got that one all cleared. He got done fairly easy actually, or early in the straight at Oak Tree, so perhaps a mistake from the Cold Ice Esports purple driver.
Yeah, must be. Looking further towards the top, I'm currently having a look at the timing screens. Fastest lap going to Norbert Liedner in 4th place, 1:45.426. And he's not too far off that, about 0.3 of a second last time around, but not the fastest time, because that fastest time was Aiden Young, 45.583, so about a 1/10.5 of Liedner's fastest lap. That's really, really promising. But that midfield battle here, we now skip here to the front, just as I was talking about it, the WSR Esports Ford Mustang continuing to just push on down the road. But Kowalski, credit where credit's due, is not giving up on this one easy, because he's still hovering within that 1 second barrier. We saw that last about 0.9 of a second, and if Wazowski can get that can really get this Mercedes together, he can get his strategy right, keep the car in contention, then he is on for a race win here, especially if he can potentially maybe make his strategy work, maybe do a quick undercut on Aiden Young. He's just got to continue to apply pressure to that Ford Mustang. I wonder with the track conditions as well, if your kind of progress is limited. You know, you see the likes of Alex Rogers, he is going through the pack, but maybe towards the further ends of the field, in toward the higher point system, you know, you might be looking at very, very difficult run through the field because, you know, with the track conditions and more caring for the car needed around this circuit, will kind of potential to move through the field be stunted with this?
Yeah, perhaps so. I think someone like Anders Meyer just probably isn't even trying to go for an overtake right now. Just looking to protect those tyres. And yeah, I'm really curious. I mean, we're 15 minutes into the race, but I think the right side tyres on these cars are going to have to do another 45 minutes. The left side tyres might be given a reprieve and only have to do the next 15, 20 minutes. But how you look after those tyres, I think, is going to be very, very important for these drivers. And obviously, the fuel strategy is always important as well. There was an issue, by the way, on that last lap for, I think it was Michael Eberstein, because he was running up in the top 20, but he's now dropped down to 31st. So yeah, be interesting to see what happened to, or was it Manuel Pindel? Apologies, it may be Manuel Pindel. Apologies, who had an issue. But yeah, Pindel unfortunately is back in the pits now. So I wonder if Pindel's spun off so fast that he's managed to find a wall, which is quite impressive around this very expansive VIR circuit.
He's not the only one in the pits as well, because Tommaso Passeggio is in the pit lane. We're about to replay here of Manuel Pindel in this one, down in toward the left-hander, where you start to go down the hill and the rear just goes. I think maybe just too much. He's asking from the rear, and there you go. The wall we had in question has been found right by the entry into the double right-hander by the Motel sponsor boards, and grabbing on that car is excessive for sure. The Porsche just trying to get through the corners, and at that point he said, I can't do this, I cannot crawl that car back to the pits. He is DNF on this race. Super unfortunate there for Manuel Piandil, but this guy here, Aiden Young, he's in a really good position. This is Anders Myers. He had an issue at one stage on this circuit going in towards the same section. It's the curb. Oh, too wide there. That might just be it. And so no progress lost there in that case. Yeah, I got scared seeing Anders Myers because I really saw him as a bit of a threat to this three Mercedes ahead of it. But yeah, it was only a slight wide moment, so that would have cost him about a tenth or two. This is starting to really heat up, I think. We're only a quarter into this race as well. There's still some trouble brewing for some of these drivers, and they're really still having to take care of the car.
Yeah, I think so. We've got a really good pack currently for 21st position, because Alex Rogers has caught up to a quartet of drivers, and I think Alex Rogers might be making a move fairly quickly. Because, yeah, we've got, well, here's the damaged car of Loveridge. And Rogers can see a few places he can get here. He's also got to consider, do I just pit early? He can't pit yet. He wouldn't get to the end of the race. You're limited to 60% fuel tank capacity. Usually a tank in these GT cars goes close to the hour, so you can imagine it's about 36 minutes if it does go to the hour that you can go. So he's still got to go a bit longer. Is there any opportunity here? You can see pretty early on the brakes there is Loveridge, but it's so narrow around that part of the circuit. There's just no way for you to go for a dive. You've got to be alongside beforehand. If Rogers can get a better exit out of this final corner, he might have a shot, and that's a very poor exit for Matt Loveridge, getting a lot of wheel spin on that occasion. And now they head onto the front straights, and it will be the horseshoe where he's got the opportunity, Rogers. But despite having that damage, Loveridge has still got good straight line speed, and Rogers is not close enough to go for a move. He's going to have to keep working away at it.
It's almost like a bullet heading down that long straight, because you talked about that poor exit. You just saw, even in the tow, Alex Rogers in the front drive front engine BMW, I wasn't able to overtake the mid-engine of the McLaren. So I wonder if maybe Matt Loveridge is still kind of okay in the car. It's just the rear end having a little problem here and there. I have to see how Matt Loveridge really goes about. Maybe take it to the next half an hour, see how the car's feeling in there. If it's dropped a couple of places, then something has seriously gone wrong. But if he's staying put here, then obviously I think he's just maintaining what he's got with the car. Let's have a look more towards top 10 here, because we've got Kayelan May, who is currently running in P8 in the Mercedes. He's having to fend off Malik Paluch, head their way in toward the right-hander of turn 14, just holding on for now into the narrow section. But both of these front drive engined cars are going to approach that long straight here, but it looks like the Ford, who may have a little bit more grunt, is very much on the prowl here. The American V8 engine up against the German V8 engine, and in that tow is going to be so critical here. Malik Paluch is about to pop out there from the rear of the Frenchman. The Frenchman holds the inside line and just say, Paluch, no you don't. In towards the squiggly section will go, where you can't really make a move. It's all going to be down to maybe that double right-hander right at the far end of the circuit, where's the next opportunity. But let's get a little bit closer here, Sam, but I don't think the opportunity is there at this moment in time.
No, and we have seen May struggle for pace. He qualified up in P7. He got overtaken by Beauclerc, his teammate, a few laps ago, and Beauclerc has pulled away since. So clearly Paluch is the faster driver. I think Ostring might be faster as well. But yeah, Paluch has got to keep his head here. Probably wait for a mistake from May before he can really go for it. But yeah, that Mercedes looks like it has a decent amount of ground. Certainly the Mercedes we've seen in for Impulse Racing have been very strong on the straights so far. And 0.4 of a second again, it's just too big. It is interesting going to these circuits. I mean, we go to a lot of Daytonas and Spas and Monzas where it's so easy to overtake. And then we head to a circuit like this where it's the total opposite. And yeah, the drivers have got to sort of cope with it as best as they can and see if they can do anything with the trajectory. We are nearly in the pit window, so maybe we'll see some early pit stops come, but obviously the risk of doing that is that you come out into more traffic, and also if you take tyres at your pit stop, you might have very old tyres by the end of the race, so you've got to weigh up all of that. But yeah, drivers want to come into the pits. If they've got a bit of damage, this is pretty much the earliest that they can go to it.
Those pit stops are going to be so important to keep an eye out for, and also trying to convert when you do make that pit stop. I think it's going to be so important to be able to keep yourself in contention and not stress too much about the pit stops. I know that usually when you're in a race car, the main thing you do is stress, but any form of calm nerves will be so helpful in what can be a very easy world full of panic. In terms of the calendar, we do go on to Road America, staying over in the USA for round 7, and then we head to Europe, where we find Manny Cour for round 8 before heading south, South American, for Interlagos for round 9, but we head back to the States, Road Atlanta in round 10. So you can catch all of those on Apex Racing TV at 8 p.m. every Tuesday. It is going to be a thrilling to this season, and these last 5 rounds are ones you should not be missing. You put on taps here with Anders Meyer there, the 120 BMW M Sport M or GT3. In towards these right-handers, he's really giving grief here to the Mercedes. He's not making any move, but it's just a very slow game of chess he's playing here as Anders Meyer. The Norwegian knows exactly what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, and he is just keeping in the toe links of Steinhoff and Leitner and even Igor Wazowski between Aiden Young and Igor Wazowski. It jumped up to 1.4 seconds here, and the Mercedes is just missing that extra something to be able to push on. Or could this be the maximum saving that the Mercedes is doing? I don't really know entirely. We've only gone we're almost onto that 25-minute mark here, Sam. And those Mercedes do seem to be in either a potential position to either win and take a top 3 altogether, or completely lose out and maybe get one of their cars in the top 5. We have no idea which way this is going.
Yeah, the ones behind Wazowski will be saving good fuel. Oh, there you go. We've got a change. Ah, that's interesting. That's obviously that's not between teammates, unless that was a slowdown. I'm not sure. Was that a slowdown for Leitner? Because yeah, of course he just let past Maya, and I was thinking maybe it was a tactical thing. I think he's dropped so far behind Maya. I wonder if he has actually cut the circuit at the Snake and got a slowdown. So that is a very unusual error. At least I believe that is the case. Let us know in chat if you know that off track a little bit better than myself. But yeah, that's quite costly for Leitner. That's a free position for Maya. He's got to try to get off ahead and yeah, try to catch up to Steinhoff, stay in that draft. But yeah, that is a disappointing moment there for the Hungarian, who doesn't give away too many of those mistakes usually. I'm just looking a little bit further back. May still behind Palic. We've got now a 5-car chain behind Alexi Bari. We tuned in to it a little bit of a while ago, but he's got Marcello Caserta right on his tail. That's the battle for 20th position as it stands. And then I've also got Lotman and Loveridge and Rogers, who has not made any progress in this train, despite seemingly being a bit faster than these guys. He's out of position. He qualified way up the order, did Rogers, up in 16th place, but he is stuck in 24th right now. Alexi Bari giving nothing away in that P20. And maybe one of them is coming into the pits. Yes, Loveridge is into the pits. That is one of our first, I think that is our first scheduled pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with tyres. I wonder if we can see if he's on the jacks or not.
So Matt Loveridge, we'll have to go back and we'll go back to that in a minute, because I just want to say something that I've noticed. Whilst you were talking about that potential slowdown for Norbert Lichtner, I was having a look there, and at the timing screen, I saw off track for Marcus Fox. So after that off track flashed up on screen and went away, he got overtaken twice. So around about the same area as well. So I do think there was a potential slowdown there for Norbert Lichtner. Meanwhile, let's have a look at Matt Loveridge, because that is not on the jacks. That is not having a pit stop.
I think he's just now gone already. So I think we're looking at the other car at the moment. So Loveridge has gone back out on circuit. But yeah, so I think he took some tyres. And yeah, is now back on his way in 33rd position. So yeah, he was stationed for 22.5 seconds. So actually that's 4 tyres. So Loveridge took 4 tyres in that pit stop. And so that's interesting. I thought they would take 2 tyres, but Loveridge taking 4 tyres. I think there will be a split. Because if you take 2 tyres, you'll save about 8 seconds in the pit stall. So it might be worth it, but of course you will be very slow come the end of the race. Let's see what the others do in a little while when they make their pit stops. Everyone's going to have to pit within the next 10 minutes.
Matt Loveridge, we thought he was, I think you're right in terms of 4 tyre pit stop, because his progression bar just, like speaking, started going up, I noticed. So I don't want to call you, I don't want to like shout down your ears that he's starting to move with the progression bar as you started speaking. I didn't want to be entirely rude on that one. I thought I'd let you have a bit of time mentioning that. So it looks like also Alex Rogers is in now. So we spoke about him potentially making an early pit stop as well, and that's exactly what he has done. I think also track temperatures come down slightly, down to only 50 degrees. So it'll make a little bit of a change, but it won't be dramatic. It is still only gone down, what, 3 degrees from what we first saw it as when we loaded up into the race. That won't really change the mentality or the strategy that is going on with these drivers. They'll still be thinking that this circuit is heating up like lava, as we described it at the start of this race. Having a look at this little tussle here with Keelan May and Malik Paluch. Looks like now joining into the party is Jeremy Ostring. So 2 Ford Mustangs will be going at it with the McLaren in this pretty tough battle for P8.
Austrian, of course, on his debut drive, new for the series, and so he's doing really well to be running as high as P10 as it stands. And yeah, of course, with May sort of backing up Palach a bit. I'm half surprised Palach hasn't come to the pits, but it's very easy for me to say that because if he does pit, you might come out behind these guys, for example, Jan Nova, and then you just have to overtake another car, and it would potentially be bad. And of course, we tend to think of tyres as being an undercut, but with iRacing at the moment, with how tricky it is to warm up the tyres, actually you have an overcut, which can, but the undercut can also sort of happen because you do get fresher tyres, but that first lap when you're out to the pits, you're very slow because you're trying to warm up the tyres. But obviously, if someone pits a lap later than you, then they've got to deal with the cold tyres whilst you've got warm tyres. So it can sort of work both ways, but generally it's an overcut, so you want to be going an extra lap. It's not necessarily a case of pitting a lap earlier and getting track position. It can work the other way round. Very close behind Ronald Grossman, by the way, at the moment. He is, or is it Alexei Bari, apologies, has got Marcello Caserta and Sven Lotman on top of him, basically. He's maybe just pulled a little bit away now, but I think he had a poor run through the snake before, and they were very close through the S, and maybe Bari's defense of this P20 might be coming to an end here because he seems to really be struggling, and Caserta is close going onto the back straight, but not really dipping into the slipstream. Instead, he sort of goes out of the slipstream, indicating that he's not actually very interested in overtaking.
Yeah, it looks like the Corvette's still just going to be sitting behind the Mercedes on this one. Alexei Bari, the Ukrainian, just really running in a decent position for now, but he'll want to go a little bit further, but 4 seconds behind Ronald Grossman, 8 seconds behind Tommy Wiedel, and yeah, even further there to equal cost. I think he's just trying to manage himself there and just stay within this top 20, but if Marcello Caserta, that position for the taking, he will absolutely go for it. Of course, it's been a difficult season for Marcello. This season not really had the results that he's been wanting. I believe he's had 4 DNFs in the last 4 races, so that's not a stat that you want to have. But he has gone up 15 places, which I believe was, yeah, I believe that he has gone from the back of the field now to the fringes of the top 20. That Mercedes of Alexei Bari is not a slow car whatsoever, and I think that is going to really show because he does sit 8th in the Drivers' Championship in the Pro-Am, 2nd place at Daytona Road Course. Is really trying to push on here, see if he can just hold to any. I think this is going to go all the way to the end. We're now over half race distance here in Virginia.
Yeah, Caserta, trying to stay close. So Caserta actually got overtaken, apologies, on that previous lap by Bari, so maybe it was Caserta with the mistake originally. So maybe his tyres are going off more than the others. So far we've had 3 scheduled pit stops, and I think, did they all take tyres? I'm not sure. I think 2 of them at least took tyres, but Alex Rogers was only stationed for 20 seconds, which seems very quick for 4 tyres. Maybe he took 2 tyres and a bunch of fuel, but that seems like too much fuel. 20 seconds of fuel seems to be quite a bit, so I'm not 100% sure what they were doing on that one, as May having to go defensive now. He's really struggling, and 3.2 seconds behind his teammate Bokler. That gap has been building over the past 20 minutes or so since he got overtaken by his teammate for that 7th position. Palach still unable to find a way past, but now he's going to have to look behind him because Jeremy Ostring is close, and then Bethu, Yatortus, Winkler and Nurmi all catching up as well. And welcome to everyone in the YouTube chat as well, by the way. We've got a few supporters of Stephen David out there, and do let us know, is it Stephen David or is it Stephen David or is it some other pronunciation? Please let us know. I'm not quite sure. He's French, and I'm not quite sure what the correct pronunciation on that is, but he's doing very well regardless. 4th place out of the Pro-Ams as it stands.
Indeed. I usually say Stefan David because, of course, knowing the French accent. But I'm gonna see if we get
that sounds
absolutely
correct. I think you've got it.
We'll see what our French YouTube viewers are going to say on that one, unless we get a word from Stefan himself. As you say, running P15 overall, running in 4th place in that Pro-Am. is trying to, I think he wants to chase down both the both Winkler and Nurmi, but with that opportunity to do so, Winkler and Nurmi are also in a hotly contested battle, and Norbert Lietner comes into the pit lane, and so is Rufika Keeper in this one. So that's going to be a big move in that one. Roman Bokler in there as well, Malik Palush and Haroldus Yotatus as well. The pit lane started to get quite flooded here, Sam, and this is where strategy is really going to play a part here.
So Lietner's not on the jacks, but Kirkapur is. So there's a split of strategy there. I wonder if we could just hold with this angle for a little bit longer. So only 2 tyres being taken there by Kirkapur. He wasn't on the jacks for a whole lot of time. You need to be on the jacks for about 24 seconds. He was only on there for 12. So yeah, Lietner deciding, that's basically an undercut that Lietner's tried to go for there, because he's like, I'm not going to take tyres, and that means I'm not going to have to warm up my tyres out of the pit lane. So he's going to be much quicker than the others when the others have to come out of the pits on cold tyres. And they'll just be skating about, and Lietner, meanwhile, will just be overtaking them all. So very aggressive strategy from Lietner, but he might be very slow at the end. He's also got a lot of open track, so that's well timed for him that he's been able to utilise that early pit stop. Let's see what his teammates do when they come in, probably on this lap, or it might be the next.
Thank you, Jim, for mentioning that. A lot of open space. That's going to be so important, especially when he does come through onto that start-finish straight. We'll have to keep an eye on what the rest of them do here, because I'm pretty sure Aiden Young will be aware of this move. I think that aggressive strategy there from Lietner was kind of caused by kind of that off track we saw earlier, and that slowdown which meant he had to let through Maya. But look at that, the top 4 is in. Kayla May, I think, is also going to come in, as well as Ostring, as well. The debutant Piero Bizu, Carl Winkler is also in. I think Jacopo Rampazzo is also going to make his way in as well. It looks like he is, as well as Equal Cost. This is where the pits are going to get absolutely interesting, and Aiden Young not taking tyres. He has gone with that aggressive strategy, and he thinks that this is the best way to go. But I think it's down to the last 15 minutes where everything is going to change.
Yeah, that's we'll see. So Young keeps the lead, albeit it was a little bit of a long pit stop, so he'll pull away now for this out lap and then the following lap as well. But Steinhoff managed to save a little bit of fuel, so that was good for him. So taking 2 tyres doesn't take any extra time, because the fuel, actually, they're having to take quite a bit of fuel today. We'll see if that works out, but Young's left himself a bit vulnerable perhaps at the end of the race. But let's see where Leitner is. Leitner's behind these guys, but he might be quick over the next couple of laps, because now, certainly at least his teammates did not take tyres. I don't think Maya took tyres either, because Maya's now right on the tail, and Maya needs to try to get past immediately here. It will be a brave move to go for it into the S's, and he's not quite able to do it. So this is when Maya needs to be making these moves. He's got warm tyres, the 2 cars in front of him do not, and every corner that passes, that advantage that he's got is going to be weakened. He might go for it at the oak tree, actually, because he's going to be able to turn around this right-hander, sorry, much better. No, he just takes his time, opens up the corner, but that BMW straight line speed might not be as good as what he needs it to be, and despite being as close as he is, you can see that Mercedes pulling away from him down this straight, and Maya's opportunities are running out.
Wow, that's a big moment there with Igor Rozalski looking to try and keep himself in that 3rd place, but close to the end of the straight here, and as Maya is gaining, but obviously how many long straights do we have on the circuit? 1, 2 arguably, but it's not like, what's a good example? It's not like the May Straight at Hermanos Rodriguez or Baku. Oh, that's a big old slide there from Anders Meyer, and that is going to be a little bit costly here. He's nowhere near Norbert Lietner either, so the Hungarian will not be aware about that, but Anders Meyer just holding on to that BMW for dear life, it seems like. He would just have to stick in 4th. Norwegian is starting to slide all over the shop.
Yeah, so I don't think Maya took tyres. Unfortunately, we can't tell. That's not information that we get told in terms of how old the tyres are for the drivers. And we can't tell by the pit stop times either. But he seems so quick out of the pit lane. So we think Yeah, it seems like his car did not go on the jacks. We're getting confirmation on that. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure Myers' advantage is gone. And of course, Leitner didn't take tyres, but he never really came anything of that. He was too far behind before the pit stops in order to make an impression. So, yeah, really just Steinhoff getting back past Wazowski was really the one change in all that, because of course Steinhoff was saving fuel in that third place for the whole of that first stint. And so he might be in the best position. But Aiden Young hasn't really pulled away, despite not taking tyres. The Impulse cars have stayed fairly close. They dropped a bit on that last lap. They dropped like half a second or so. But now for the rest of the race, second and third place drivers are going to have an advantage over the first place driver. So yeah, has Aiden Young left himself a bit too vulnerable here, or is overtaking tricky enough around this circuit that even with those old left side tyres, he'll be able to hold on?
Wonder how that's all going to be. It's going to go about here. Those two Mercedes continuing to really work away here to the back of Aiden Young, but that gap has really stayed at 1.1 seconds. That has not moved very much. Barely had any pressure to go with here. Now having a look at Roman Bogler, because he decided his way up the inside of one of our Ford Mustangs. That was Pro Car on Pro-Am of Dominic Engel there. So the Frenchman on the German there, but that's only for 25th place. That's only got another 2 points to your tally. So Bogler is just going to go through on that and just try and race for pride here. There's not really much he can do. He's had many better days in his race car.
And sorry to interrupt, but the reason why Bogler is as far down as he is that I think he sped on pit lane entry. It was either speeding or he cut the line because he had a 40-second extra hold in his pit stop. So whilst everyone else was stationing for 20 seconds, he was stationing for 60 seconds. So that is why Bogler is further down than what he was earlier on. If it weren't for that mistake, he would be up in P7 right now.
Oh, that's a painful stat there for Roman Bogler, but yeah, I have to say his race has really come undone since that potential pit lane speed as well. He's had better days in a race car, and he'll come back better and stronger when we head to Road America in 7 days' time. Now, who's sitting in 7th for the moment here, Kalian May, who is just still ahead here of Malik Paluch. Paluch is going to, hopefully, if he can stay on the black stuff, he will extend his championship Pro-Am advantage out to, well, I'm not entirely sure. Commentator maths is very rough here. Speaking of, where is our championship contender in the Pro-Am? Miko Nurmi. I haven't seen Miko Nurmi whatsoever. Has he been given a penalty potentially? We're looking at him here.
Good spot. Yeah, he got a penalty as well. Yeah, he sped on. He got a 40-second hold as well. So yeah, Nurmi would be in 12th place right now. But yeah, he got that penalty. So yeah, you're absolutely a good spot on that, because he was running behind his teammate Carl Winkler, and now yeah, he's down 28th.
Oh, that's going to be a real pain to gut there. Brutal, as Jim Cunningham says there in production, because I think he's hit the nail on the head here. It is brutal, but you know, those are the limits you run whilst racing around here in Virginia, and especially when it comes to the pit lane, you're attacking every single centimetre of a race course, and you know, when you're in positions like this, it is soul crushing. You've got 6.5 seconds. Next car ahead, only for 27th place. Do you really want to be fighting for that and getting only 2 extra points for your efforts? Yeah, not really, but you need to be going for it, especially if maybe
lead, by the way, so
maybe if Paluch maybe signs out for a round, then we'll have to see Tommy Beadle and the Ferrari really holding out down 16th place very well from Caserta. Right in that one, Sam, it's starting to get very competitive here up in the top 3. Having a look at Alex Rogers, and this is going to be important because at Amateur has made his way through and is sitting in a very comfortable 3rd place in the Amateurs.
Yeah, doing very well. He's still behind Caserta. And yeah, he's been sort of at the back of whatever train it's been on the outskirts of this top 20, but Of course, with the couple of pit lane penalties that we've had, that's promoted him a couple of places. Lockman as well, just going past Loveridge a little bit further back. And yeah, Caserta still just having to bide his time behind Vidal. May has come under so much pressure since the pit stops from Palic, and maybe Palic was a bit patient before thinking, I might get this guy with fuel at the pit stop, but now he's just having to absolutely go for it. Maybe there might be a tyre difference as well, albeit for the lead, it is getting very close. I sort of exclaimed about a minute ago, I rudely interrupted you before, but yeah, it was down to a tenth of a second out in the lead. And it really does seem like taking tyres was the way to go, because Young didn't face this pressure whatsoever in the first stint. He was so comfortable, and now the gap seems to be sitting at 0.2 of a second all the time, and now it's coming down to a tenth of a second. Yannick Steinhoff has got 16 minutes to get this move done as he moves to the left side of the circuit. Young just needs to keep his cool here. He's got the better line. Steinhoff will not make it round there, and Young survives another attack, but this is going to be a long 15 minutes, and frankly, he's built this problem for himself. He's got less grip than the drivers behind, and he's going to have to keep on pulling maneuvers like that in order to keep this race lead.
Indeed. Having a look at track temperature, it is dropped 47.78. Now that is, I believe, 2.2 last Mirror. So yeah, running it up, it's 48 degrees track temperature. So it is still warm, but it's still not as high as we saw right at the beginning of this race. But it's starting to come down and down. I wonder what kind of low numbers we're going to get that to. Probably maybe mid 40s by the end of this race. As time used to go off. To have a look at we'll have to have a look and see how that kind of turns out. Yannick Steinhoff still trying to pressure on, aiding Young here. We now look back to Igor Wazowski. Oh, we've had a bit of a mistake there. Who was that for?
Yeah, Utortis just got past Palic, by the way, so I think a mistake for Make Palic. And so Utortis is up into that 8th position now, so good move from him. He'll be moving on to May, but let's see if Steinhoff can pull off this move on the next one. Albeit I think he should be safe, to be fair, that time around here. I think he will be right, as here was the mistake then. Oh, so was it an attack from Palic? Oh, he's just got onto the outside, sort of moving one way then the next, and he ended up extending that corner entry a little bit too much, and yeah, loses out on that position. Here's the battle for the lead, and yeah, Steinhoff was not able to get past. I think Young has got control of this one. Like it's down to Young, I think. But it's like a case of if he gets like one bad exit from Oak Tree, or if he locks a brake one time at the end of the back straight, these cars do have ABS, so that does help on that, but it's still possible. Then he's going to be in trouble, and even down to T1, he's going to be in a bit of a trouble as well. He's got to make sure he doesn't leave any space on the inside. Here comes Steinhoff, and there's absolutely no space through there. I don't think he'll have enough grip on the outside here. Young should have this one covered off, and he's all right. Further back, Leitner has overtaken Meyer. So Meyer was another one who didn't take tyres, and that has cost him because Leitner didn't take tyres either, to be fair, but has been able to get that move done. So Leitner maybe preserving his tyres a bit better than what Meyer has.
Indeed, I think he's still feeling a little bit of pressure there. Put himself back up into 4th place there. So the BMW has also been having a few problems. So that kind of 5-car battle has become a trio car battle here. The American, the German, and the Polish driver now. It's all about just keeping it slow for now. Then you realise we're into the final quarter of this race. We are 47 minutes and a half into this race, and there's still so much to play for. You're seeing Carl Winkler at the back of this pack here. He's just having a look at what I believe is the battle with Kayla May, who is very much leading this train from 7th down to 11th. Oh, moment there for the Mercedes of Pierre Bizu. He's gone a little bit wide there as well, but more battles going for the lead. Here, this is now going to be almost 3 cars going into it, and through, sweeping on by is Igor Wazowski. The two Mercedes of the Impulse Racing team will now go and do battle, and the Polish driver sweeps on by. How important is that going to be? I think also Wazowski has pretty much had enough of just sitting behind his teammate and said, well, if you can't pass this Ford Mustang, I'm going to have a go myself.
Yeah, and that all came from Steinhoff actually taking the lead for a brief moment, but was on the outside when it came to the corner that really mattered, and that left him vulnerable to Wazowski, who retakes that second place. Frankly, Wazowski probably deserves that second place because he qualified in P2 and then was dragging Steinhoff around, and Steinhoff was able to save some fuel whilst in the draft in that first stint. That's how he got ahead. Now, Wazowski, who's perhaps the fastest of the Impulse cars, can have his shot at the race leader, Aiden Young. And that time, it looked like Steinhoff was only 0.2 of a second behind coming out of Oak Tree. It still wasn't good enough, but it certainly was close. So I think we need to keep an eye on that. If it gets to below 0.2 coming out of Oak Tree, then I think Wazowski's got a good shot. This time, it looks like the gap is actually a little bit larger. It's up to 0.3 of a second. And yeah, Young should be absolutely fine this time round, I think. But I don't know. Tried saying that to Aiden Young. I think it's easier for us to say than where he is in the cockpit.
Is coming down, 10.5 now down towards a 10th we go, less than a 10th now on toward the right hand of the two, and there goes the Ford Mustang who's been pushed out by the Polish driver. I think Stewarts will get involved in this one, but Igor Wazowski will now lead the race here at VIR in controversial fashion, and the Polish driver will now just have to go on forward, kind of pretend that didn't happen, but it was clear as day what was happening. But we need to get a bit of a replay on that one, I feel.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a penalty or not on that one, and here comes the replay then. Let us know what you think in the YouTube chat, because this one will certainly be protested. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be a penalty. It's a tricky one, like how much space do you want? I mean, there's a bit of maybe a car width and a half going into that corner. Maybe you can argue that Young could have afforded more space, and how much space is Wazowski due? I think from Wazowski's perspective, it's probably going to look like he's all right. Gets onto the curb. Yeah, very, very tricky one there. Either way, it looks like an Impulse car is going to win this race. Even if Wazowski gets a penalty, Steinhoff will be leading this one, and Young will almost certainly not win this race. On the older tyres and with how tricky overtaking is going to be, and the fact that the teammates are leading, the win is off the cards now for him. And it will be down to the stewards whether Wazowski or Steinhoff takes this one, or maybe Steinhoff will be able to get it done on track regardless.
Have to really see kind of what is decided in the stewards. I don't believe, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe we have live stewards
no.
At this moment in time. Yeah, no live stewarding. So yeah, that will all be decided post-race, which will be an interesting one, because usually I like to update my stats straight after a race, but in this one, I don't know if I can.
Yeah, we'll 2 to 3 business days until we get the results finalised for this one. We've got a long queue of cars now just outside the top. Well, this is Callian May, who has defended so well. Like, he has had a car sat on his rear bumper for the entire race, and he's still P7. How does Yotorsis has not been able to get past him? Make Palic lost that position to Yotorsis a few laps ago, and now he might be overtaken by Pierre Ubithu. Ubithu not going to keep his car quite alongside through there, and then just behind them, I'm sure there might be an opportunity for Carl Winkler to potentially take that position. And here he comes on the cutback. That would be a brilliant line. Outside turns into the inside, though. For this next chicane, there's a bit of contact between the two of them, and they're going to remain alongside. And through the snake is very narrow, and Ubithu stays ahead of Winkler. But at least Winkler's helped out his teammate Palic a bit there by dropping the pair of them off the back of that trio.
The last 10 minutes is about to get very, very chaotic. We saw that collision with the leader. We've seen the collision between Ubithu and Winkler. How many more are we going to be wanting? Oh, my goodness me! Wow, that's the Ferrari. I do believe we had a Ferrari, but Yeah, I wasn't too sure. I just saw a car flipping through the air, I feel. Kayla May, I believe. He's just dropped all the way down. We'll get a replay on this one. This was Kayla May in towards the S's section. What on earth happened? Grabbed a little bit of curb, threw the right-hander, grabbed the grass, and just finds its way into the barrier. And that's a massive accident.
I'm sure as the pilot of that car, he would have been shouting "Mayday, Mayday" as he approached the wall on that occasion. And we'll take a faster pair but of course that toe will drop him all the way to the back. And what a shame, because he had driven. I mean, we hadn't seen him make a mistake. I mean, he'd been under so much pressure, like I was saying before, hadn't broken under the pressure, and then just that mistake there has cost him badly. Rampazzo has now had enough, and I think he may have had a bit of contact there, because I think I saw some debris on the circuit still. So let's see what's happened to our amateur race here. And incredibly, Axe Rogers is up to 13th place now, so he dropped from the lead to the back and then back again. Here it was. Ooh. And there goes into the wall, and that was with Igor Kos.
I was about to mention Igor Kos, because they both dropped all the way down into the pits to retire both cars. But that's massive for Jacopo Rampazzo, because that now ends his streak of every time he's entered a race, he's been on the podium, and it ends tonight here at the VIR. He will DNF from the lead of the amateur class. That will be a massive hit for his more pride. It won't hurt his championship hopes too much, but it will mean that he does not finish this race, and that win will go so far to Alex Rogers. Who predicted that right at the beginning of lap 1, turn 1? Because I don't think any of us could have said that.
No, I mean, and credit to him, he's kept his head, and we've seen him sort of struggle to make moves as well, albeit he has got past Vidal and Caserta in the past 20 minutes, so he's done well to get through them. But yeah, you just got to keep a cool head, because frankly, even without that spin, I think he would have probably been P11. So that spin, which dropped him, from a very good position to the back, dropped him 20-odd places on lap 1. Actually, it's probably only lost him 2 positions in the long run, and I wouldn't even bet against him perhaps putting some pressure on Ronald Grossman by the end of this race. So amazing performance from Rogers, and this is how he managed to get past Vidal a few laps ago. So he'd already got past Caserta. I think this may have been when they were coming out of the pits, because Caserta was trying to get some temperature into his tyres and much more confidence. And Rogers being able to get past. And by the way, just one more comment as I ramble on. I think that collision as well that we saw between, I think it was Kos and Rampazzo, I think Kos is going to get a penalty for that. Kos was on the outside, and it looked like he squeezed Rampazzo quite a bit. So I fear for Igor Kos, he might get some penalty, which won't affect him in this race, but it might contribute to a qualifying ban later on in the season.
That's super unfortunate for him, for Igor Kos. But let's have a look and see what the battles are looking like up here. Alec Paluch, the leader of the Pro-Am category, he's up against his fellow Ford for tonight's race, Harold Siotatus. It's a big old battle for 7th place here. Paluch, I think, will be really wanting to go for this as well. Was there a chain there between Rogers and Eagle, but we'll comment on that if there happens at any point here. Down the hill they go and in toward the uphill section. Malik Paluch will have a look on that outside line, but he backed off in this one to send Harold Siotatus going motocrossing, it seemed like, onto the grass he goes. It up into 7th, and Carl Winkler will be looking at that saying, hey, I want to go on this one. I want to go on a Ford Mustang as well here. That Mercedes looking so vicious behind the rear of that Ford Mustang. We've had about, 6, maybe 7 minutes of absolute pandemonium, it seems like. Winkler is going to have a move up the inside as well, only for 8th place though, but it means so much if he's just holding on to the rear end here of Malik Paluch. They're going to go side by side in towards 2, and the Ford Mustang is just going to hold it, but around the outside Winkler is just going to hang on to it by a coat's tail, and into the battle comes Pierre Bisu in the other Mercedes. It is superb action in these last 2 minutes minutes of the race here around Virginia, and some fantastic stuff overall by everyone in the field.
Yeah, brilliant driving, and of course that all that action at the end of the back straight on the previous lap, that allowed Winkler to get past Obithu. We were on board at that point, but yeah, just behind that on board, I think Obithu was forced offline, and now Obithu's got a slow down as well, so drops away from these guys. But I wonder if Utortus maybe didn't take tyres, because we saw Utortus get past Paluch near the start of this second stint, and maybe that was why. Maybe he didn't have to warm up the tyres, and that's how he got past. And now he seems to be really struggling. Winkler looks a lot faster. They've just got one more lap to go, however, do those guys? Well, a lap and a bit to go. So maybe Winkler will be able to hold on to, or Utortus will be able to hold on to an 8th position at least. We're watching Tommy Vadel, who's coming back at Alex Rogers. Rogers seems to be struggling a little bit in these closing stages as well now. So, and we're pretty sure that Rogers took at least 2 tyres. I think he did take 2 tyres. So, yeah, surprised that he's dropping back, because Vadal and Caserta, despite being overtaken by Rogers earlier on in this stint, seem to have the pace now.
Runs the white flag lap as well, so that ticker is going to hit 0 very, very soon. Tommy Vedal, who's just going to carry his way in that Ferrari. I believe he's had a change of car as well, so is that going to be a third driver to get a change of car penalty? This one, I hate to give it to him, but if it has to happen, it has to happen. Yotatis and Winkler having a big old tussle in that one. They're changing positions like it's no man's business, and Carl Winkler, I think this time, will move up into P8 here. The change for the lead, because Yannick Steinhoff will now move into the lead here, and that is very, very that slow down. Potentially,
or he's out of fuel. I think he must be out of fuel, right?
I think he's letting past Aiden Young here.
Oh,
I think he knows what he's done wrong. He knows he did wrong, and he's waited till the last lap to give that position to Aiden Young. He held him, knew what he did wrong, tried to get a gap, but round the final corner onto the pit straight, the German Yannick Steinhoff will win here in Virginia. It's a superb effort for the Impulse Racing team. A superb victory will be Aiden Young to finish second, with Igor Wazdowski in third. Norbert Lietner will take a bit of a hit into that championship lead that was sitting at 41 points coming into tonight's race. He will finish in fourth, ahead of Maya Kokipa. Malik Paluch wins the Pro-Ams ahead of Yao Howardus Yotatis, who will hold on for eighth, and Carl Winkler and Piero Bizu, who looks to be 7.5 seconds behind Winkler. So he's obviously made a mistake here. But Alex Rogers, from spin to win in the AM category, from up to 13th overall, a mega effort from Rogers, and that is a superbly deserved win in such tough conditions.
Yeah, great job from Alex Rogers. Such perseverance, such calm, collected stuff, and a good strategy as well to pull off that 13th place, because that was as good as it could have got for him, considering the early circumstances. Wonder if we get a replay of what happened between Utortus and Winkler on that last lap, because you pointed to it before, Adam, but they looked like they were having an insane battle, and I think it was through the S's as well. Which usually is a part of the circuit they cannot go alongside. So I'd be interested to see exactly what happened between those two. But a great race here at VIR, and of course I think those last 10 minutes, a big reason why we saw as many overtakes as we had was because of those tyres really degrading towards the end. It'll be interesting to get some comments from the drivers when it comes to that. This is the issue that Obithu had. So Obithu lost about 8 seconds, I think, on the last lap. This was the two of them ahead, battling. Utortus just staying ahead. Obithu takes the advantage, but he just moves slightly to the left there, Obithu. He opened up the steering, it looks like, and that put him off the circuit. Fortunately, it didn't really cost him a position, just meant that he couldn't pass Winkler. But that is how Obithu dropped off, and yeah, you can see the absolute incredible power that Utortus and Winkler are having in front of him. And your Tortoise held on to P8 despite having very little grip by the end.
I was I'll give you a little insight into something personal here, but I think my step granddad was listening into the broadcast, and he was saying it's been some great racing. I just messaged saying 5 minutes of madness. That turned into 10 minutes of madness. It seems like in the end of the race. Mega M, but it's going to be Yannick Steinhoff in the pro category class, in ahead of Aiden Young for the WSI esports team, with Igor Wazowski and Norbert Lietner there in P4. Anders Meyer will be home in 5th, with Rufika Keeper in P6. Then we find the Pro-Am winner of Malik Paluch for Sim Racing 1 team. RS rotators Carl Winkler and Eric Bizu rounding out the top 10 ahead of Stefan David, with Ronald Grossman there. He's had a tricky couple of moments in this championship, but at P12 I think he'll be happy with. Alex Rogers, as I said, spin to win. Of course, a brilliant effort. Cannot fault him, whatever he's done. It's been a really good push from him, and there's been nothing but praise for the Englishman. Tommy Vidal will be home in 14th ahead of Marcelo Casata, who will pick up some great points for the pro driver, with Alexi Bari in P16 and Matt Loveridge 17th. And Lotman will be in P18 as well. Moving further down, Marcus Fox, the Austrian, will be 19th ahead of Roman Bokla and Dominic Engel, with Jan Nova in 22nd. Edwards, Miko Nurmi, second in the amateur in the pro-ams. He in the championship, 24th in this result. Not what he needs. That championship lead will open massively for Malik Paluch, the German. Then we may move on to Jan Schutler, followed by Jeremy Osting. And unfortunately, I think for him, penalties became apparent for the Finnish driver. Drops all the way to 26 when he's running close to the top 10. He'll come back stronger come Road America. Artem Udod in 27th, followed by Jason Hodgson, the American. Decent result for him, but he could have gone better, could have gone worse. Daniele Chialfi in 29th, with Jacopo Rampazzo, who finished a lap behind after his collision with it looks like Igor Kos, Manuel Pendil, Michael Eberstein, Kayla May, Igor Kos, Pavlo Denisenko, and Tommaso Paseggio, all having instants or things to kind of delay them in their race, obviously pulling them into retirement. But we've had an absolute superb race, and I think this may be, I don't want to say maybe race of the season, but I think the last 10 minutes really just helped with that.
Yeah, it was a thrilling end to the race, wasn't it? And a fantastic performance from each of our class winners. I'm going to be selfish and pick the first interview. I want to have a chat with Aiden Young, who joins us now. So Aiden, bad luck on that one. A really great qualifying performance, a really great first stint. But it seemed to start going downhill after the pit stop. Do you think it was the right call not to take tyres, or are you wishing you took the 2 tyres now?
In a way, both scenarios, I feel like I would have won the race. Tires or no tires, that was mine to win. Home track advantage, so I know exactly where to place my car to make sure they don't pass me. It's unfortunate that the only way they thought they could win was by taking me out. But, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I'm happy with the pole. I'm happy with the race up until that point, led every lap. And, yeah, so, I mean, just happy with the rest of the race. But that, I mean, I'm notably pretty mad about it, so.
Sure, yeah, I absolutely understand that. I mean, talking about the incident, I mean, was there... We'd seen you guys get in that position a couple of times before, but I guess that was the first time, I guess, that Igor had got alongside you. So had you been leaving the same space to Yannick on the last previous laps, and that was all right, and then against Igor, did Igor just take a bit more space on the inside than Yannick had done previously?
I'd say the move that Yannick did, that's a bit more of a racing incident with him. We both just kind of braked a little late, and so the Merc tends to get pretty loose in roller coaster with the braking. So I think there it was just he got a little loose and then just got in the side of me, and to counteract us crashing, I turned into him a little bit to help stable us both and made sure we both survived. But then, I mean, I left the same amount of space when Igor tried to go. Igor goes, and second week in a row I've been tapped. I mean, I'm good friends with him normally, but I'm gonna say I'm not the happiest of people today after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Good from Igor at least to give up the position and yeah, of course the stewards yeah will perhaps still have a look at it, but yeah, good of him to give up that place at least on the last lap. Looking ahead to the rest of the rounds, today, of course, you said that you had home track advantage, but really did seem like you took a step forwards today. Are you confident that you're going to be able to carry that on for the rest of the rounds, especially now that you're in the Ford Mustang?
We'll see. I don't know if the Ford's going to be good at Road America. I don't know. I don't even know if there's a chance of rain or not. I think there was unofficial, so maybe we'll see what happens for next week in the league. But if it's dry, I don't know if the Ford will be there. So I'll have to see what I can create with my team and my teammate and see if we can't get the car up to speed. And if we can, then next week I'll just try and come back and get my revenge and see if I can't get that win.
Well, we wish you the best of luck for getting that win next time out, Aiden. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd just like to give a thanks to my whole team: WSR Esports, Next Level Racing, Bruzy UK, Adidas Racing, my teammate Eric Roseth. Obviously, it wasn't here, but I wouldn't be where I am in the series without him. He's helped me, even if he's not racing. He helps me with some things like if I need to tweak the car setup wise, he'll give me a little help here and there. And you can't do a series like this without a team. So it's ultimately all down to them for me being the pace I am.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having a chat with us, Aiden. We'll see you back next time.
See you guys next week.
Aiden Young there, very disappointed with the second place finish, which yeah ended up behind Yannick Steinhoff. Adam, who are you going to have a chat with?
Let me have a look and see who we got in the waiting room. Well, there's only one really. Alex Rogers. Let's bring him in. Here we go. Alex Rogers, you're live on ARTV. A super comeback from you. Let's go all the way back to the race start because it was a difficult start for you. Through it.
Yeah, it was less than ideal. I've got to be honest. I kind of just put my car where I thought it needed to be, and the next thing I know, I'm facing the wrong way. So that's how race starts are sometimes. I haven't looked at the replay in too much detail, so I don't actually know what happened. But I just know someone got into my door suddenly. But like I said, it happens. Yeah, it happens sometimes. So yeah, I'll have to have a look back at it. But yeah, I think I've got a bit of good fortune because I think something happened to the. Oh, I can see on the stream what happened now. Yeah, I got a little bit of good fortune because I think towards the end of the race, the AM leader had an incident of some kind. Again, I need to go and have a look at it. But I think I've had a bit of good fortune coming my way for some time. Not had the best of luck. So I was carrying a bit of damage for the first stint as well, which was hurting me quite a lot. So, but yeah, just fortunate to be in the position I was really.
Kind of just talk us through managing the entire race as well, because we were talking about the hot temperatures of the track. It was a very congested circuit with a narrow amount of space. Talk us through how you kind of carrying the car through the majority of the race.
I think for the most part, you're just trying as hard as it is to be conscious of the tyres, like throughout each section of the race, and not push them too hard. I think the front runners, that a lot of the difference with the guys at the top of the pro class, so your people like Aiden and Anders, who's also in the BMW, is they'll be so much better at managing the tyre throughout a stint, so they can just maintain better pace. So that's definitely something I need to work on. But you're right, the high temperatures make it really tricky. And it's really hard to kind of hold back slightly and try and be that bit smoother just to go the distance.
About the strategy today, because that really seemed to play a massive part on this race. You know, we're debating no tires, 2 tires, 4 tires. What was kind of your strategy to maybe start with, and then how you took it once you got into that pit box?
So for me, I went with no tires. I just stuck with what I had. Reason being, I kind of had nothing to lose, and I needed some track position to kind of roll the dice, and just try and get some track position, maybe keep it. So in an ideal world, had the incident not happened at the start, I probably would have taken 2 lefts, just to give me that bit more in the fast stuff where you really need it in the heavy braking zones as well. Which I think a few guys did. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I just couldn't. I couldn't afford to with the position I was in. Really, didn't really have a choice.
And then, of course, just finally moving into that lead because of the demise of Rampazzo, then coming over to win. How was that feeling?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a strange feeling because I feel like there's been a couple of races where I've had some bad fortune and I've kind of done the right things, maybe got involved in incidents, whatever it is. But I feel I was due a bit of good fortune, so here it is. So I guess it's run out now. So back to the drawing board for the next round, really.
Yeah, you close onto that championship lead as well. So is that something you're potentially going to try and maybe mount a challenge on, or is that maybe something that's a little bit too far out of reach?
I'd say nothing's impossible. I definitely think it's doable. By all means, I think I've got it in me. But as I've said to you guys before, it's just great fun to show up to these and do them. So whatever happens for me, you know. Yeah, we'll see.
Alex, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on ARTV. Go and enjoy this victory because you absolutely deserve it. Thank you for being with us and take care.
Thanks, guys. Cheers for putting on.
That seems to be wrapping up our broadcast. We've had an absolute stellar race at Virginia. Sam, is there anything you wanted to kind of say before we round off?
Not too much. I guess the only thing is, you know, if you want to take part in the remaining few rounds, we've got 4 more rounds of the championship to go. You can still sign up over at apexracingleague.com. We've also got some other series which are still going, particularly the Foxtekker GT3 series, which is really good for American viewers. That's in the McLaren GT3. So do check out apexracingleague.com for more details on that. And of course, if you don't want to race, just make sure to tune in on the streams over the next month or so.
And so whilst we watch these great replays, I'm going to sign out. From myself, Adam Reed, Sam Fitzpatrick, and Jim Production. Thank you all for watching this stream. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Apex Racing TV channel. We'll be back in 7 days' time, where we stay in the States. We head to the circuit of Road America for the 7th round of the championship. We'll see you there in 7 days' time, 8 p.m. Be there, be square. Take care. Right.